say for many people they are challenging,
Okay. Wow.
but okay, we have some people waiting, and we are live on YouTube, and probably if you feel like it, could you repeat what you just showed me? If you feel
Well,
like
I
it.
was just saying, uh this beautiful sign of love, of humor. And it just kind of appears and then suddenly it's just gone. And then you say, "Oh my God, what happened?" Oh,
Oh,
it's there now. How can this be? I mean, I have no idea how this keeps oh, it keeps changing side. I just don't know what to do anymore. Oh my God. It's just getting on and on more and more. So anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome,
welcome.
Zane. Thank you for inviting me for a third edition of these talks. As I was telling you before, I love what you do
Oh, thank you.
because we know what we want to bring as a gift to the people around the world. But we're speaking from the heart. Oh, there it is
Exactly.
again. Ah,
It appeared again. From where?
now, phew, it's gone. So we're speaking from the heart, and we're here to bring joy and bring love and explore
Exactly.
our humanity together. So up to you.
Back to
This is
me.
Guy. This is Guy
This
Giard
is good.
from Montreal. There you go. Montreal, Canada, author of the Courage to Love in French and in Spanish. There you
Oh,
go.
in three
I did,
languages.
yeah, in three languages. And
I think most of our listeners, they know at least one of the languages it's translated. So go
it
ahead.
would be my pleasure.
And
So
that's probably I could start. Yes, hello, my name is Zane, but I could start with introducing myself to the listeners that know only you. How did we meet? We met back in Dublin a while back now, and it was International Writers Festival,
yeah.
and um, I think we spoke like from very like first minute or so. Because I was late. I was late for the event. I had other things happening in my life, so I was late. I arrived and I saw the first barefoot human, almost barefoot. I think you had your zero shoes on. Maybe you
Yeah,
did, maybe you didn't. It doesn't really matter. But
it's either barefoot or just sandals in because I'm either barefoot or sandals. That's it.
exactly. So all the signs were there that you're a proper human being. That
Yeah.
all the signs I need. So, and also another sign was I was looking for an organizer for the event, and you asked me, "Do you want me to be the organizer?" And
If I can be of service, and yeah, I just
exactly.
improvised. I was just there at that moment on the table, and you arrive, and it's like oh, what am I supposed to do? And I said, well, here
You
I
can
am.
organize.
I,
Exactly.
I, I'll get it done for you. So, and I was there as a speaker. So I was a guest talking about the my book. So
I
I
just
was,
missed your speech.
uh, but
Yeah,
it's online. It's online for those
yeah,
who've missed it, and for Zane
yeah.
and those who missed it. What I presented in
In Dublin.
Ireland,
Yeah.
and it's my pleasure that it's there. So, but I see this person coming in and wanting so much to attend and stuff like that. So I just kind of, okay, here's a lanyard and what's your name? And I wrote it down and there you go.
Yeah. So I felt welcomed. So the purpose for these conversations for the third time is for you, everyone who's listening, to feel welcomed. And if probably this is the only place that you feel welcome today, be it. We're happy to provide it because
Mm, mm, mm.
uh, we kind of feel that the sense of belonging, but for real, it's getting extinct. So most of your work, and not only the spoken word, but also the written, the book of yours. it speaks exactly about it. And it speaks also about how we tend to forget. And the nose, the joke, the thing that you showed in the beginning of this conversation, it's a beautiful example how we, it's there. And we kind of tend to forget that it's still there, even if we don't see it.
It's
Exactly.
always within our heart. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
saying
for
that. That's true.
beautiful illustration there. And it's as simple as that. And we can gather all the knowledge of this world, all the knowledge, whatever, like whatever the capacity of our brains is. But the brain wouldn't really matter if the heart is not in proper place. So this third speech of yours or introduction into forgiveness, I don't know how to call it, but it is a result of our second conversation. We decided that it's nice to get ready for festivities, but it's also nice to kind of look forward to the time when the festivities have ended, and you probably don't have such a good taste in your mouth anymore for some of the happenings that have happened.
Mm.
And there is this saying, you know, if you really, really want to test your growth, go and spend some time with your family, or some call their loved ones, and the loved ones, they show you your biggest faults. So what I really want to hear from you today is, of course, your experience, your real life experience, and how, like, if you could start with some of the examples that you could think of from your own life. I mean,
Mhm.
what comes first to your mind where you really needed to use your skill of forgiveness, and how did you apply it?
Well, it's been quite a life journey. And just to say right off the bat, I was abused as a child, at 6 years old, at 3 years old by men and by women, by group. And that became unconscious. And that's how, in a way, I survived and that's how I developed the respect for the body, because the body cares for you. Even if your mind is confused, even if your feelings are everywhere, your body is going to make decisions to take the best care of you possible. So I was too immature, I was too young to handle such horrible memories, such extreme sensations. So my body basically um, cut myself out. Uh, the, 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 the memories of what happened in my youth, of the sexual abuse I lived, disappeared. Um, the sensation, some parts of my body grew numb. You could say I have less sensations. And I just went on living. How could I say? Not like an automat, like a robot, but I was just kind of going through the motions. Okay. Um, that's why my book is about reconnecting to your true nature. And forgiveness is a major part of that. Um, because from your education, from schools, religion, family environment, we get lots of concepts, lots of, you're allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say this. You have these feelings are good. This is the good category of feelings. And these are this is the bad category of feelings. And we don't question that because as a child, that's normal. That's totally normal. So let's say a highlight where um, I reconnected because the other side of forgiveness is to reconnect to your true nature, reconnect to your gifts of what's inside you. So um, my a specific example. So um, when I was in Peru, so we talked about this before, but about 10 years ago, I became a humanitarian clown. And that was totally scary for me. So forgiveness is about taking risk and taking chances for yourself. So a lot of precursor to forgive is to actually go out of your comfort zone and to follow your instinct, maybe you're not connected, but there's this little voice. Anyway, so I was scared and I started clowning with Dr. Patch Adams, and I went to Guatemala. And I'm not a clown. I'm an artist, a painter, a sculptor. That was my experience. And when I was in Peru, so just this very specific experience, um, we went to a small village called Iquitos. And Iquitos was renowned as being the largest city in the world with no roads going to it. So the only way to go to Iquitos was by boat or by airplane, and that's in the middle of the Amazon in Peru. So we went there, and we were going to clown uh, down the river, you could say, to the poor neighborhood, which was called Belen. And so we went there, and the idea was to bring joy with the kids, and they had no. The houses were on sticks, wooden sticks, because of the river overflowing. Most likely they had no electricity and no running water, so really bad shanty town. But the kids there, that was the environment. That's how they lived. So we were there trying to bring joy and pleasure, making music, making games with them. And then suddenly there was this amazing downpour of rain, like a really tropical Amazon rainfall, just all over. And it's just like the kids, for them, that was just like a big shower. So they were just screaming and running and running. So I started to run with them, and I had a little polka dot umbrella. So they all came and huddled around me, and that was so much fun. And then suddenly it stopped, and we were by a big large field where the kids play soccer or football, as you would call it. So they started playing. Some kids were running with the ball. It was totally wet. Other kids, they just went and threw themselves on the ground, and then they started to do like this for their
The
legs.
angel thing, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they were doing mud angels. That was amazing.
Did you do
How
one angel yourself? Did you
I,
try?
I do it in the snow, and I run
I've done those, yeah, in the snow as well, but I've never done a
I've
mud angel.
I run bare chest in the snow. I'm also known as Montreal Snow Runner. So
We
I
will
go.
speak about this because I have a few questions about this as well. Yeah, but let's finish with this.
So uh, they were just transforming a bleak environment into something magical that was so beautiful. And as I was just witnessing that, then I look at all around the field. There were little groups of children, like 4 years old, holding hands with 6 years old, with 8 years old, and maybe having a baby in the arm. It's like, wow. And I saw so much love between these children. They were happy, they were holding hands, and they were like a family and friends. And suddenly it came into my mind. It says, wow, this is what humanity is when it's not being brainwashed with concept, with civilization. This is what our true
Mm,
nature was.
exactly.
And when I got in touch with that true nature, I had lost my humanity. Then I understand that the people who abused me were people who had lost that connection to humanity. You know,
Mm,
it's and it's hard when you have to say it's not their fault. Yes, they're responsible for the action, but I'll stop with this. And it's just like over the years, I've learned that it's only hurt people who hurt people. You know, a
yeah.
loving person will not abuse you, but a person who has been abused who had had a hard time, a hard life, they are the ones who might repeat the abuse and stuff like that. So getting back to our humanity. So how we can get back to our humanity, and that's through forgiveness. So that's my first answer to your question.
There's just like billion topics you touch, but let's just not bother with that for now. Um, I wish for our listeners to sit on this information that you just gave, like the whatever visual or sound information they've gathered so far. And I would like to probably switch a little to the experience you said, the bare chest running, and if you could just to give kind of a hint of what it means to you, and why did you start to do it, and probably if you could touch on fasting as well and all that, like what changes in your health you've made recently, and how they signal about your body and your somatic experiences and liveliness and
Hmm.
humorous approach to everyday life, like how it's all connected. Okay, yeah, that's the first sign.
Well, I like your question because it really makes me think, I do all these different activities. I
Yeah,
did 20-day just water fasting. I run under 0 degrees Celsius in the snow, bare chest, and in the summer, barefoot as much as I can, and so forth. So, what ties all of these together is, let's say, before answering, just be a bit general. It's there again. It's just cannot go away. So,
not yet. Don't go
so
away.
this idea that in our mind we have accumulated a lot of knowledge. The brain. I always talk about the five sides of the body. There's
Yeah, remind us then. Yeah.
the mind, the heart with the full of feelings, the body, which is our function in the world. The fourth one is our spirit. Our spirit is our energy. What level of energy are you having? And the fifth one is our beingness, the fact that you've incarnated, that you are here in this reality,
Exactly.
that all of you viewers out there, you know, I love you. You are amazing. You come on this life journey with us. So, and I'm giving you a big, big hug. So anyway, so the mind, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the universe, the fact that we're all here. So the mind is the storage of all these beliefs and concepts we have. Okay, so uh, cold is dangerous. Cold, you're gonna catch a cold. You're gonna be sick. That's one of the comments, questions I get when I run in the cold. So what? Okay, I'm in shorts.
Aren't you gonna
And
get sick? That's the first question, is it?
yeah, people say, "Are you gonna get sick?" It's under the freezing temperature. There's snow everywhere. There's ice everywhere, and I'm running there. Bare chest, smiling, enjoying myself in shorts, and I would do it. I would do it barefoot also, uh, but they've put gravel and salt everywhere, so very
Yeah,
bad,
that
very
might
bad for
hurt your
the foot.
feet really badly, yeah.
Exactly. Um, so it's the idea of that, you know, uh, what is your experience of life itself? You have this knowledge, but did you try it out yourself? So how did I get into running? You could say it's by accident because of the confinement.
You fell into running.
Yeah,
You,
actually,
you were about
I,
to fall, but then you started to run.
exactly. Well, yeah, and basically, actually, when you talk about falling, this makes me rethink really deep, deep, deep because the confinement, was very hard for me. Um, I have to admit, I started to get suicidal. It's like,
Hmm.
what's the point?
Yeah.
And I decided to use my frustration,
Hmm.
and what I did, I just started to run like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump,
Can
I
you
forget the movie.
describe that sense? Like, what did you feel? Was it some kind of force, or was it some kind of extra?
It's my body taking care of
It's
me
just your.
again.
And where
And,
did it
and
come from? Could you point where did the idea
oh,
like on
oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, okay, if I concentrate on that moment, um, I guess the level of energy would be like centered around there, this,
somewhere here?
yeah, chest
Okay.
area,
Okay.
and this idea that and then it gets in my mouth and in my teeth because I'm clenching. I'm so angry and frustrated. So I
Yeah.
started running. And it was summer, and I did like everybody else. I mean, I got clothes on, and even if it was summer. Uh, but here in Montreal, it gets to very hot in the summer. And I was still a very shy person, but still, I eventually I took off uh, my
Yeah.
running sweater. There you go.
How far back
And
in past are we talking about? Like years,
3 years,
months?
3 years
3 years.
ago. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the confinement when the government decided to, you're not allowed to meet
Restrict. Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to go into any open space, almost any open space, or
Yeah.
limited. Uh, so I just started, and there's a canal. There's a kind of governmental park with a canal. So I just ran there. But this experience of running bare chest, even if I was so shy, oh my God, what people are going to think of me, the experience took over. My body was right. And that's the idea of forgiveness. That's a very concrete example. Like I had the concept that it was shameful and it was not allowed, and that I should always run worrying, and
Yeah.
this is something we can talk about a bit later on. It's like the mind, when we don't forgive, always needs to be right, whatever the
This is
subject
very
matter.
interesting. This is very. Could you repeat this, please? The
Uh,
mind.
when we don't forgive, there's consequences in the five elements of our
Yeah.
body. So, but for the mind's contribution, when you don't forgive, it's because you always want to be right. And that's not logical. The mind is not a logical thing. The purpose of the mind is to find patterns and to make sense of the world. So when we don't forgive, the mind wants to be right all the time. The heart is filled with expectations of how the world should run.
And that
You
leads to
know,
disappointment, constant disappointment.
disappointment, sadness, anger. The body, when you don't forgive, is passive. You are in a waiting position. You're waiting for things to happen, for the outside to happen.
So body basically is trapped in between, like like there's pulling sensation from both ends, and the body is being pulled, like stretched, but
Yeah,
it stays in a fixed position, but still not comfortable because, yeah,
because forgiveness, you know, if you do, I like etymology, I like the origin of words and stuff like that.
yeah,
It,
yeah,
forgive, forgive,
yeah.
give. But when you're passive, when you don't forgive, physically, what do? You hold on.
Hold on,
You
yeah.
you hold on to your memory, you hold on to your pain, you hold on to everything. So you're passive, and forgiveness is the reverse. And actually, for those who speak French, sometimes it works beautifully well because in French, forgive is pardon. So give is donner. That's the word to
Yeah.
give. And forgiving in French, it means that you give back the part that doesn't belong to you. Tu donnes la partie qui n'est pas à toi. Tu pardonnes, you know. So anyway,
This is just like I'm a visual person.
yeah,
I constantly
do
draw
it.
the picture, and it
Yeah,
kind of becomes in my mind as a block, like that
yeah.
you kind of was
You
dragging
hold.
towards you, and you suddenly kind of you're able to release.
There we go. And
And
I think
yeah,
a beautiful synonym for forgiveness is release.
yeah.
And what do you get when you release? You have energy coming out. So for all the mind again tries to be right. The body, the heart is full of expectation. The body just wants to hold on. So it's very passive. It doesn't want to, if you play a team sports and you don't pass the ball, you're gonna
Don't
be
ever
out
do
of the
that.
yeah, you're gonna be out of the team. That's very easy. Uh,
Yeah.
your your spirit energy is negative. Your outlook in life is negative. And your beingness, that's number five, the universe, you're gonna be authoritative. It's like this is the way it must be, you know. Number five is why. Why do you live? Why are you around? Why is this reality? So number five is going to be about authority. This is just the way it has to be. This is my block. This is my story. This is my pattern. And I'm right to be angry about it. And nobody's going to take my anger from me.
But I
Uh,
have such difficulty listening to this because I'm a parent, and I believe like many who are listening who
mm.
are, responsible for little human beings, they will have like they're gonna struggle with this because how like if you could put this for me, please put this together with discipline. Like, how do you find space for discipline into this? Like being
Well,
right and still having some sense of discipline.
I love your question because it's
It comes from my heart. Like,
and it comes from experience, and I totally agree. And
yes.
this is why I separate in five categories, in five level: the mind, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the universe, the beingness. Because when it's all in one, it's almost impossible it's like a chair, a chair with four legs. If you cut just one, but not the other three, then the chair's gonna wobble like this. And then so if you work only on your mind, it's not gonna work. If you only work on your heart, it's not gonna work. So basically there's five, it's a stool with five uh legs that we are there. So um
Still with five legs. Okay, I have to draw that.
stool with five legs. You have the leg of the mind, the leg of the heart, the leg of the body, the leg of the soul, the spirit, you know, and the leg of your beingness. Anyway, so um,
The discipline.
the discipline. Okay, this is maybe one that be hard to swallow, but that's okay. I love it. It's like so being authoritative. Okay, being responsible. That's number five. Authoritative, the ego, being responsible. So you, and this is the universal you. I'm not I'm not
Me,
saying you though.
particularly. Yes.
Okay.
You could do that
Uh,
as well. I have no issues.
okay, but I mean, you are responsible. So you say that to yourself, you say that to your child, you say that to anyone. Basically, what I'm saying is this, what I'm gonna say is it's not it's for everyone. It's not a question of you as a parent and the child. It's like you are responsible for the choices you make, but you're not responsible for the results.
It's a tough one
It
because we are
is.
normally judged by the result, you know.
And that's I don't like the word the mistake, but that's part of the equation why it is so difficult. And
Okay.
maybe that's going to be our next conversation next month about who's responsible and why it's so important to differentiate. But we are responsible for our choices, but the results we're not responsible for.
Actually, you're kind of the third person in last 2 weeks who came up with this topic, so it must be really important. It must travel somewhere because like it keeps coming up.
We are, and that's, it's when I talk about these five legs, these five levels of existence. The first three are obvious because for years we've been talking about the mind, the heart, and the body. That's the easy ones. There's lots of books on them. That's fine.
Yeah.
The fourth one was a bit harder to find, which is the soul, the spirit. And again, like nobody has issues if I use the word mind or the word emotions, heart, or the word body. About anywhere around the world, if I put those tables around those words on the table, nobody will have issues with it.
Yeah.
But the fourth one, when I talk about the soul or the spirit or the energy, already some people say, oh, you can't, we get into there's no universal words for that, which is sad because then we can get into arguments. We're talking about the same things, but having arguments about it, and that's so sad. And the fifth one, that's the hardest one. Okay, the fifth one, which is the beingness, it's basically you're a fish. The fish is not aware that he's living in water.
Yeah.
And that the fifth one is that the fifth is that we are alive. Now, there's consequences, the fact that we are alive. And when we don't forgive, so that's a whole discussion. But since we've folk where the key word today was forgiveness. When we don't forgive, then you try to be right. You have expectations. You're passive because you're holding on. You have a negative energy. But most of all, you feel the weight of being responsible. Now, and being specific about, I'm also a father. I have a daughter with my wife. So I know this idea of being a parent and having choices and um, how do you make your children understand that there's consequences to their choices and how to um, make them feel that whatever they do, they are still worthy and they are still loved. That's the basic one. So um,
So how do you do that?
it's all I can say is that it is possible and it is worthy. And I think that's our point of being alive in this universe is to do that. Um, let's say I'll okay, so there's these five legs, and we've been speaking about the negative side, about
Yeah.
not forgiving. So what I like to bring as new ideas. So this might fit, and so I'm going to throw them to you,
Thank you.
and it's like confettis,
I
and then
love, yeah, I love the idea.
you pick up the words that say, "Oh, Guy, let's speak about this one."
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. So um, can you repeat with me the five
Yeah,
legs?
teach them. Teach them once again.
The mind,
The mind, the body, and then
the
the one
heart,
the one we have issues with, the spirit. or the
The mind,
soul.
the heart, the body, the spirit,
Yeah.
and the beingness. Okay, so now, how do we fix the mind? How do we heal the mind? How do we encourager? How do we, you know, how do we make from our heart start to glow and go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger? How do we do this? So with the mind, so I'm going to throw the words. Okay,
Yeah.
so the mind, we're going to talk about active listening. So instead of being right, we listen. Instead of having expectations, we love. With the heart, we just love. And love is about acceptance. Instead of being passive with the body, we create. We create with our body. Uh, Instead of being negative, the spirit, we get the spirit of exploration, the spirit of curiosity, the spirit of discovery. And most of all, the hardest one, oh, oh, the hardest one, that took me years to understand, instead of being authoritative, is to play. Life is a game. Life is a dance. Life is poetry, you know. And okay, so listen, love, create, explore, and play. What does that mean concretely? Is that find your dream, find your dreams. Ah, I was so destroyed. It took me decades and years and years and years to understand that one of the worst thing that the sexual abuse I had in my youth took away was the ability to dream,
We
to have
touched upon
dreams,
it in the last conversation. Yes.
you know.
Those who want to
So,
listen, yeah, like it's tragic, but it's also magical.
and life is magic. I mean, you're there. Wow. I mean, I love your lipstick. It fits with my nose. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
picked it in the
perfect.
last minute, so I couldn't. I could like.
You know, I mean, life is magical. I mean, with the internet, we have our friends on the internet there. I love you all. Thank you for coming along in this journey and sharing it with your friends when we're finished over and reaching out to me because I'm always there for you. But that's the magic. I mean, electrons going in through wires and now it's Wi-Fi but I mean, we met in Ireland and now we're here and we're
Yeah,
sharing the world. I mean, that's magical. And this is when you forgive, when you open this, just make a little crack in this thing of belief system, then you find your dreams. You start to live your passions. So dream is your mind. With your heart, you start to live your passions. Oh, running in the snow became a passion, and I didn't know. It's just amazing. The body, number three, is each of us have gifts. And we are discouraged or we are ashamed or we are say, oh, why should I just be me? I have a gift. It's a beautiful gift you have that you have this live cast and you invited me. Oh my God, I'm so blessed. This is amazing. So dream, passion, gift, and the energy you can have is joy, gratitude, joy. Why not just have joy? Joy, I mean, it's amazing life. It's a beautiful gift.
also, but from some people, I hear that and there are recent studies about I listened to a conversation with a happiness professor,
Hmm.
or I think he had a different title, but I just recall him as a happiness professor. And what he does research and he teaches in university as well he researches happiness and why is it or it's not important. And you know what the conclusion was? I'll try to explain it because I didn't figure it out for my own mind. Like I didn't put
Mhm.
it in a concept for myself. But as far as I understood and as far as I kind of tried to translate it for my own mind is that happiness, it's not a goal, it's a state. And that's a tricky thing because for most people, like, John Lennon and all those wise people,
Mhm.
what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, be happy. But it's like, is that really your goal? Like, what's the goal? Because we have to work on a goal here. And I will ask it in a question popped up in my mind while you were speaking. Like, I think the main question is not how to be happy only, but how to crack. So if you find a way how to crack, then you might let the light in eventually.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I agree. And that's why I say, like, when I work with people, when I do coaching, I always talk about the concept of breathing. We breathe, that's simple, but breathing is we bring nourishment and we let out the garbage. So nourishment, garbage. So nourishment is dream, passion, gifts, joy, the dance. It's to listen, to love, to create, to explore, and to play. And garbage is being right, is having expectations, is being passive, being negative, and being authoritative. But and then there's so many more
yeah,
words. But it's basically, so how do you crack, you know? And again, the body loves you. Your body loves you and does the best with what it has at this moment in time. So some people will need to crack. Some people will need to melt.
yeah,
Some people will need to warm up. Some people to need hugs. So what I've learned working with different people is that I've discovered the tools, like all, but the path that each person takes depends on what they have lived until the moment we meet. So, for example, I did a 20-day silent retreat. No, 10-day. I did a 20-day fasting
you'll do the
on water.
21. Okay, okay. Listen, this is like
But
again too
no,
much
I
information.
just
Like
finished.
you did.
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
finished this thing. But the in a 10-day Vipassana retreat, which is a 10-day meditation, silent meditation. Of course, I was scared of doing it, but my body was calling it. Anyway, at the end of the 10 days, and it's in my book, the whole
Yeah.
story is in my book. So um, I was so much at peace. I had done amazing forgiveness, amazing cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And I was sitting there and I was waiting to be filled with love and filled with light and fill, name it, with whipped cream on ice cream, with chocolate, with cherry. I was just kind of, I am at peace finally. And I waited and I waited and I waited. And it was not happening. There was no love. But I said, but I've got rid of all my abuse. I've erased everything,
Yeah.
and there's no love. What is happening? What's wrong with me? So again, my body eventually spoke to me, whatever way, and it showed me the image of a pendulum. When you have a pendulum, a ball that's hooked to a wire, and it goes like wing, wing, the kind of pendulum. And I finally understood the idea that my quest for love, my courage to love, my quest to find love was the equivalent of all the abuse and self-hatred and suicidal thoughts and all the pain and suffering I had. So for me to heal from all the pain and the suffering and the hate and everything, my healing was love. So the love, let's say I had 248 levels of pain and sadness and loneliness. So on the other side, I needed 248 levels of love. So that finally it came to the middle in peace. And that's when I understood that the goal of life is not love. And I know that kind of sounds like, but Guy, what do you mean? No, it's not. The goal of life is not love. The goal of life, that's going to be our sixth discussion. We're going
Or
to find.
seventh even, because I have so many questions now.
Okay, so I'll just finish in life. So the goal of life is hidden in number five in our beingness. But to get there, the tool we need, you know, love is one of the tools. Forgiveness is one of the tool. Uh, and then there's this a geyser of joy opening inside, Okay, stop
Okay, I want to be precise with some details. So there was 10, just, I did some, I'm all about numbers as well, some
there.
of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So 10-day silent retreat. And
Yes,
the second thing you mentioned was 20-day what?
water fasting. So not eating, just drinking water.
Why?
In a nutshell, I was going to get 50 years old,
Hmm.
and I had got all my lead plumbings, plumbings,
Fillings,
dental.
they're called fillings, yeah.
Well, in French it's plumbing. So, but I like
Plumbings?
that. Yeah, du plomb because it used to lead is plomb.
In
So
Latvian, it's plombe.
there we go. So
So
that's so.
plumbing it is.
But so I like that word because it's in the mouth where the stuff goes in and stuff. So like a sink anyway. So
And you got them
uh,
removed.
over the years, yeah, I got all of them removed. Now there's ceramics or
Yeah.
whatever. I've got no lead whatsoever in my mouth anymore. No metals. Anyway, and I was getting to be 30, 50 years old, and for me, like half a century. And
Big
I
deal.
decided to thank you to you know, take care of myself, because my body, I used to smoke when I was young. I needed to smoke. Luckily, I never went into drugs because I would be dead by now. My body throws up. I vomit as soon as I get any kind of
Can I be a devil's advocate for a second?
yes,
I
for
probably
sure.
didn't find the right drugs. You were using the wrong ones.
That's
It's a really bad joke, I
No,
know,
no,
but
no. I agree with you. No, because it's like I couldn't go on roller coasters, by the way. So it's not so.
okay.
So it wasn't just but I agree, quality of drug and stuff that would make sense. But um, basically, I was such a control freak. My life depended on control, on unforgiveness. My life, you know, I was a robot, not feeling. My only goal in life was to be invisible, unheard of. Uh, that's it. So,
That's until
any
age of 50, about until age
it's
of 50.
it's until the age of my God. I think the clowning. So 10 years ago. So I started to clown at 55.
Okay.
you know. I'm gonna be 65. Yay! That's
Yay.
so fun. And anyway, so uh, in a nutshell, wanted to uh, clean my body, clean my past, so I was working on cleaning my thoughts. I was with forgiveness, with in regards to the abuse, and so basically we're talking about 15 years ago now. That's before the meditation retreat. That's before the clowning. That's before the running. I was an artist then, working in museums, and I was giving talks on music, talks on art, and but health conscious. At one point, I got really badly overweight. I got sleep apnea. I stopped breathing during the night. Uh, my wife couldn't we couldn't get pregnant. It just didn't work. And I started, so uh, when the sleep apnea kicked in, I said, that's it. That's too much. So I started the exercise program, eating healthily. Suddenly, my wife got pregnant. So that was like magical. So I knew that taking care of the body, taking the lead out of my mouth, made some changes. So I say, okay, I'm going to be daring. Number four was about that, was about exploring, was about having going on discovery journey. So I did a lot of research on it and concluded, okay, it's a safe thing. It's not easy, um, but I did. And it totally changed my relationship with food, with eating. So the first one was 5 days. And then a few years later, I did 10 days. And the last one I did was 20 days. And I stopped. The only reason I stopped is because I was bored.
Mm.
That's all. I could have gone for, because just imagine if you stop eating. Now, you don't have to go do grocery shopping anymore.
We're not advertising, don't get us wrong. It's just about experience. He's talking about his experience.
Yeah,
Yes, you don't have to go
thank you.
grocery
Yeah,
shopping.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Knowledge is always important before doing
exactly.
any
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
experience.
Just a
Thank you.
disclaimer. Okay, you don't have to
Beep,
go grocery
beep,
shopping.
beep, beep, beep.
What
Yeah.
else?
So, well, first, you don't grocery shopping. You don't have to cook. So think of all the time that's freed. You know, uh, I discovered that eating was a way to, how could I say, not have breaks during my day, but to, um, you work for 2 hours. Oh, I'm going to have a coffee or, just kind of. So
Yeah.
there's the stimulation aspect, but there's also the framing moment. So when you stop eating, you basically get up and you basically have nothing, well, not have nothing to do. I did continue to work. Uh, we can do a specific show on the progress of that, but basically you can work. You just have to be more, not necessarily slower, but anyway, what I discovered is that if you have the full time to um, to yourself, after 4 or 6 hours of brain work, your brain is dead, you know, but you're still alive. It's like, but you just, it's like a muscle, or it's
Yeah.
like running, you know. There's a point where you use your body, and then you have to stop because you've reached the limit. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that the brain has a limit. So basically, after 4 or 6 hours, you just don't want to use your brain anymore. You just don't want to think. You just don't want to, you know. So you've got your whole day, and then you say, okay, I don't want to work. I don't want to write. I don't want to paint. I don't want to be productive. uh, what do I do? What do So after 20 days, I said, oh, I want to get back to teaching, to giving my talks. I want to get back to working with people and stuff like that. So, uh,
So you
but
found time. You found time. You added time to your life.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing how much time you have to your life. And by doing fasting, you also discover what the how much what you put in your mouth affects your feelings and affects your mind. As a parent, I'm sure you know about this, about sugary breakfast cereals, um, juice or pop or stuff like that. So um, now I'm totally aware when I eat something in my body. I have Saturday, I went to a new cafe, a new Iranian cafe in Montreal. So that's publicity for them. They're wonderful people. And corner of Notre Dame and Atwater. You have to go there. They're really
Okay,
nice people.
now I have
So
to.
anyway, and but since they were new, they didn't have decaf coffee. So I struggle. I said, okay, okay, okay. I love you people. You're wonderful people. Just let me have a cappuccino. There you go. So, but I knew 36 hours later, I will have withdrawals.
Hmm.
And actually, I'm having withdrawals this morning. When I woke
Mm,
up, it was difficult to wake up, and I'm having a bit of a headache now. But I
mm,
know in a few hours it will be over.
yeah.
So being aware, so that's just a funny example of, okay, drinking coffee. How does that matter? But again, how about the not necessarily pastries, but a lot of pasta. When they say people have that afternoon low of energy, say, well, what did you eat at lunchtime? Um,
I
so
will actually have. I just got a response email from a person. I won't say her name because, I hope it works out, but like I'm not 100% it will. About uh, she and her husband made a movie years ago, 2014, I think, Microbirth, and it's all about microbiome and
okay.
all that, the system that we have inside of us and that feeds on these things, and
Hmm.
how it affects like connections and how we
Yeah,
form relationships. And Food unites, but also I've heard so many stories where food is the reason why people they're unable to communicate, you know. I'm not talking about being drunk and alcohol, not even going that way, but like you cannot sit at a table if you only have few bits on the table. You have to have like, many different things, and you have to entertain yourself. And what if, like, just a thought, what if we entertain our minds and hearts instead of entertaining our stomachs for a change, you know? That might be
totally.
a nice way of, yeah.
And our humanity. And that's why I say that learn to listen. No, not learn. I don't like it. Practice listening. Practice loving. Practice creating. Creating doesn't mean become an artist, become a singer. It means uh, why not when you shop, buy something that, you know, just pleases you for no reason. That's creation, creating um buying a meal that just pleases you.
Yeah.
That's you're creating, um exploring. And the like I say, the number four, the spirit, was hard to find, and the last one, the universe, our beingness, is the most difficult one for me to find. And because in our mental society in the 21st century, we are 22nd, I forget which century we are
It's
anymore.
okay.
uh, we are a mind-centered universe, and the equivalent of a logical mind is number five, is you are responsible. you know and we that's all the message. When I was trying to work on myself with Tony Robbins, with all these positive messages, Louise Hay, and all these people who have messages of love, most of the time, it boils down that you are responsible for creating your own life. And I say, no, I'm sorry, you are not. Oh my God, Guy, how dare you say that? This is awful. It's the same thing when I talk about being abused. People say, okay, I will forgive. I know that forgiving doesn't mean condoning, that I agree with what they did. I will forgive, but I will never forget. And I say, no, no, that's the mistake.
Mm,
It's possible to forget. And people are like, no, I want to keep my pain. They don't say it like that,
of
but,
course not. Yeah.
you know, but so it's the same thing. It's like the beauty of forgiveness is that you actually forget and then you have a clean slate. But the thing is, when you have a clean slate, page blanche means it means that you're free to make any choice you want. And that's what people are scared of. They're not scared of forgiving. They're not scared of forgetting. They're scared of now you can choose anything you want.
That's mind blowing. We are at the end of the promised hour. Do you have anything else mind blowing to say to the
Well,
listeners at the minute or the ones who are
what
listening
was the
after?
last thing I just said? It's like it comes from my heart, so I kind of forget.
No,
Oh
I
yeah,
I kind of felt it as well
it's
because you will have a clean page basically,
yeah,
and it's open to so many options and yeah, I can see where people might struggle with it
yeah,
because
because
but
if you
I struggle with the responsibility thing because I would say like my next sentence would be it's your responsibility what you put on that page. But again, it kind of you trick your mind into it being kind of trapped into like this responsible and not forgiving
yeah,
because you're so responsible and then you don't forgive yourself for not fulfilling the whatever tasks you gave to your mind or your
well,
body or
and I think that's what we said that next talk, if we have the pleasure of doing that, that's going to be responsible. I think that's that we're getting to that now because Guy, the crazy guy, the crazy clown, Yuku the clown, is saying you are not responsible. Everything that you've been taught since childhood, since school, the army, the government is no, you are not responsible.
this
But
is so mind-boggling that I love it. I love it.
okay, so
It frustrates me how much I love it.
I and that's the frustration. Where is it in your body? I love it. Like where it's somewhere in your body, this frustration.
It's
And
tingling.
exactly. And I started to do improv, theater improv. I'm doing it for a few months now. And I went to do theater improv because it was irritating me. It's true. There was something inside of me, like the feeling you just described. It's just like, ah. And then I've learned my wisdom is to say if your body is sending signals that there's something in you, is because there's some energy that want to be freed. And the best thing to do is to go towards what irritates you, because from there you're gonna find great freedom.
Okay. Okay, I think this is a great stop that we could put this to this conversation. And I look forward truly to the next one about responsibility because I'm 100% sure that it's gonna be mind-boggling not only for me, but for many others,
I
especially
love
in
it.
these times. So we will set the date privately, but we'll say in about a month.
Yeah.
We'll let you digest this conversation and listen to it a couple of times, and then we'll see you back in about a month then. Thank you,
Thank
Guy.
you, everyone.
You've been
You're
most welcome.
wonderful. I love you all. Bye
Thank
bye. Have
you.
an
Bye.
amazing life. See you then.